The Fujifilm X-T50 is the camera that many of us have been waiting so long for, with our wallets open. I own the T10, loved and owned my T20 to death. Shouldn't have sold it. Skipped the 30, hoped for a 40, and here we are with the T50. There are a number of tasty upgrades and maybe one or two question marks for me at least, but it's still the camera that's most tempting me to splash the cash, which is one of the questions. Yeah, let's look at it up close in the studio, then take it on my travels and have some fun with it, and then maybe I'll decide by the end if I'm actually going to buy it. Not this particular model, it's got to go back to Fujifilm UK when I'm back from my travels, and I want black, not silver, but silver does look cool. Anyway, we're waffling, let's crack on. Well, I love it. I love how it looks. Yes, I want a black one. Is it called charcoal grey? I need to check that. That colour looks cool, but this is the one that Fujifilm UK sent me. And yes, the silver tops are very cool looking. Me wanting black, all black, is a discretion thing, a ninja shooter thing, but this is nice. I like these rounded off edges. Yeah, that's pretty cool. For me, the grip, this really helps. If I'm honest, I'd have put this Q button out on its own on a little island. That does make a difference, because frankly, if you've got even small to large hands, that's not a lot, but that's a compromise. You could always get a grip if you need to, and I've done that in the past, but I really love it. We've got this screen here, doesn't flip that way, but I think that was the best choice other than the T100 screen. This is the second best choice, let's call it. Flip out, no thank you, not for this one. Yeah, T100 screen though, I keep saying it, but I do wish we had it. Yeah, anyway, we've got that 40.2 megapixel X-Trans CMOS 5 HR sensor and the X processor 5 in there. Some serious power. We've now got 7-stop IBIS. We've got this film dial, which if you've seen me on any posts about this camera, you know that while I like the idea of it, I think it's a wasted bit of space for someone that shoots RAW. And some people will say, go get a different camera. But, you know, I love the camera otherwise. I just don't like redundant dials, redundancy, stuff I won't use personally. And I feel like someone with a bit of software know-how at Fujifilm could just simply turn that C to something other than what it's offering, or on top of what it's offering. But I digress. I might mention that later, but I'll try not to waffle on about it too much. The dials feel as they always do. This button here, which I've got set for face detection on off, it's very slight. There's not a lot going on with that button, but you know, it's working. On the back, these buttons are a lot more solid, and the dials, yeah, perfectly fine. All this feels good. The screen we've looked at, nice. Nothing on this side to worry about. Flip open here. The good news is we've got a 3.5mm jack, so I don't have to keep hunting for my 2.5 to 3.5 adapter. Very nice. USB-C, so charging, etc. But also you can use the adapter to plug headphones in if you need to. And the HDMI port, of course, it's the small one that nobody likes, but it is what it is. We're seeing the 126 battery on this. We'll see what battery life I get. I tend to get way more than the rated, but you know, that's the whole point. And we've got the SSD in here too. There it is. There's a Fujifilm one in at the moment, but as you can see, it's a little bit tight to get out, but that's fine. So we're not expecting lightning speeds with that. That is a bit tight pulling out, so you won't want to be rushing, but it's not a camera built for rushing, even though there's a lot going on. You do get 8 frames per second manual shutter. Give this screen a wipe again. I do tend to be getting a lot of fingerprints on it. We've got 8 frame per second mechanical then, or 20 frame per second electronic shutter. Video modes. Now my way of getting across into video quickly is hitting, oh, let's go back to play, hitting drive and I'll go up, and then I'm in my movie modes. Now, movie modes, they're compromised after 4K, so it does shoot 6K, which is brilliant, but that comes with a crop. There's also a 4K high HQ mode that comes with a crop. So basically 4K 16:9 30 frames per second is absolutely fine for me. Now the cropped 6.2 does actually offer 4:2:2 10-bit color, but you know, nice. And the 4K 60, that is also cropped, so I'm gonna stick with my, not even that one, I want 4K, not the HQ version. Perfectly fine for me. The 7-stop IBIS is really going to help me out. We've got a red frame indicator now, F-Log2, frame IO, RAW over HDMI, bit more than I need, but that's absolutely cool. Now the camera is, as you can guess, super light. We will put a lens on it, the kit lens, so you can see, but the camera on its own is 438 grams. There's a lot packed into that, and I really do think it's cool. I mean, the kit lens, which will feature in another video, honestly, it's a bit out of place now. It's a bit big. I would probably consider putting on something smaller. I think the Sigma, what's it now, the 18-50, that might be smaller. I need to check that, but yeah, I still want to check out this lens, but yeah, I think I'd be popping something small on it. But I am clearly taking this away on my travels, or if the intro was recorded there, I'm currently on my travels. This bit's in the studio before my travels. Anyway, we're going to talk about the lens in another video, as we said, so let's just get the cap back on here. I think I've mentioned everything. This film simulation dial, by the way, so that'll let you access the 20 simulations, but there's other buttons that you could do that from. EVF, while I'm pointing in this direction, 2.36 million dots with a 0.62 times magnification ratio. As with any modern day camera, there's a lot of specs going on, but look at that. It is, I think it's pretty cool. I like these edges. I am going to have fun with this one, and I will report back on build quality and handling after giving it some good use and abuse. Right, I think this is going to be coming to Paraguay with me. Yeah. We'll kick off with build and handling, as always, and after having tested it in 6 countries, I'm very pleased. You know, we don't mess around on this channel, we test it properly. None of this half an hour in the hands business, usually. You might need more grip, in fairness, although it's well designed to use all day out and about for me. That is. Now, I'm not sold on this film dial. It really needs to be customizable to make it less redundant for RAW photographers and more decisive JPEG shooters. But yeah, on face value, it works really well. It feels pretty good. It looks kind of cool, I suppose. It may encourage more JPEG shooters to the market, which is a positive, but it's a bit of wasted real estate if you're not interested, but you still want everything else the camera offers. And no, there are no direct alternatives to this camera, for me at least. When I travel, my mindset is to move as simply as possible, and that more or less carries over to my gear. So I just don't understand why it can't at least be programmed to add some other functionality. That'd give us more value to an otherwise top quality setup. Battery life was not disappointing at all. And of course, for the times I didn't get to charge overnight, the USB-C kept it alive pretty fine. Now, I use the camera on boost mode and with no auto shut off, so please don't trust any reviews out there that just say 300 to 400 shots. They clearly haven't used the camera enough. I get double that. Autofocus sees another big upgrade in performance, and while still not at Sony levels of snappiness, it's generally very capable. Give or take the autofocus needing a bit of a tweak over firmware, but let's not risk firmware updates just yet, right? Anyway, IBIS performs really well too. I'm really grateful it's in this body. I love my T20, but that was one thing I really wanted next. I found the rear dial a bit too easy to knock and sometimes push the ISO out of where I wanted it. You can change this in settings, of course, but I needed it there for when I switched to movie mode. I thought after 6 countries I'd have got used to it, but not quite yet. Maybe that's a me thing. When it comes to build and handling, while it's not quite there, I'm still tempted to get this camera, though I'll probably get it in black. Too many people in Paraguay asked me if this was a film camera. I mean, it does look cool with the silver top, I admit it. I might go in the middle actually and get the charcoal one. That is rather nice too. I love the image quality from this camera, and the 40 megapixel sensor allows for a lot of cropping, which doesn't really interest me, but it is a plus for many. Detail is excellent with the latest lenses, even the new kit lens that we'll look at in another video. Dynamic range is pretty good, and ISO performance generally not bad at all. It's still not where I want it to be, but for 99% of what I shoot, and pretty much all what I shoot with this camera, no worries at all. Video mode is actually more feature packed than I expected, and while some of that is compromised, there's more than enough for what I want the camera for. I'm very happy with the performance. Surplus to my needs at the moment, f-log 2, RAW over HDMI, but I think I could definitely get into those features over time. So yeah, I'm happy to see them in here. IBIS again makes it all come together for me though, and in movie mode it works pretty well, even though I'm still seeing a little jump at first when I start my video clips. Yeah, maybe that'll come out in firmware. Again, do we want to risk a firmware update? Clearly, the T50 is a massive step up from the T30, but is the huge price jump a killer? Well, I've got a problem with wild price jumps under the guise of upgrades, and even taking into account the crazy inflation lately, it's still a bitter pill to swallow, especially as the earlier models represented really good value, and this, well, not necessarily when we consider the nearest alternatives or even the next up T5 being so close in price. But should you spend $12.99 to get this camera? Well, if size is not an issue, maybe considering spending that little bit more for the more capable T5. But size is an issue for me for what I want this camera for, and there are no interchangeable lens travel cameras that suit me as much as this one. So yeah, it's got that annoying film sim dial, no weather sealing, not quite there autofocus, but I think it's a top quality bit of kit, and while I'll moan about the price for a long time, I do see this as my next purchase. But could the rumoured, or upcoming I should say, XE5 be the move for me? Now, I was never in love with that series as I was with the T range, but I don't know. It might be time to make the switch, maybe. Let us know in the comments how you feel about this camera, and I'll see you there.